take this time to greet those who are watching us online. We say, welcome to God Wi-Fi Hotspots, where we speak things into happening. As I greet the entire church again, may the good Lord richly bless you. Amen. Victory over giants. What is laid to me today is that the battle is self. There are giants which are visible, which we can be able to touch, see, observe. But there's a very silent giant which is called self. And the giant that is self, they say it wages a war that brings you into a place of immovability, that you are unable to move, because in self there is that thing that say, I'm going to move forward. Whilst there's another force that says, you're going to stay where you are. Whilst there's another force that say, you are incapable. Now this raging war that comes through the mind is very dangerous when it is not attended to. Let me say it again. It's very dangerous when it's attended to, because it then leads us into blaming other people or shifting responsibility. Because self wants things to happen in a particular way, and when those things are not happening in a particular way, it's easy to find excuses, or is easy to find mechanism to move responsibility from self to someone else. That is why a lot of people, when God says, I am giving you the desires of your heart, but we find ourselves desiring more the things of other people than what God is giving unto you. Because what God is giving unto you, He is sure able that He's going to provide those things unto you, regardless of the circumstances and giants that you may be able to face in life. Because God says, I'm going to give you those things. Now, if we are not in a position to posture ourselves and understand that this giant is so strong in such a way that it can be able to bit by bit destroy us, bit by bit kill us. That is why we even have what the world call it depression. Because depression is thinking, which is okay to think. Then you think again, which is allowed to think. Then you overthink, then you stay in overthinking into things. Then you feel that the thinking that you're thinking, hear me, is not happening the way you are thinking. Then when the thinking that you're thinking is not happening the way you are thinking, then you withdraw. You pull out. We want to deal with self. Numbers, the invisible war, that's what I call it, the invisible war that is in the mind. And the Numbers 13 verses 23. Numbers 13 verses 23. And they checked out the lush Eshcol river band that, as its name suggests, grew branches of grapes. So thick and heavy were the clusters that when two of the men cut down one branch holding one cluster, they had to carry on the pole between them. They also pick up some pomegranates and figs from the place. Giants never showed up, or giants never show up into life until God gives you a promise. God wanted to give the children of Israel what we call a perspective. Not only just a perspective. No one just wake up and say, I just close my eyes, and you wake up in a show house and you buy the house. You view. Now God said, now when the spies were sent out by Moses, it was for them to go and do what we call view, for them to have a perspective, for them to have an analysis. And hear this, for them to have a photographic memory. There's nothing so nice than when somebody comes and say, we just came from this place. You were not there. They give you an analysis and bring you into the whole picture as if you were there. They tell you the picture so that you become excited to say, oh, I wish that I was there. Now, God, that was the reason that he was sending the spies who can be able to view and have an analysis of the land. There's two important significance about the reason of the promised land. One, or of Canaan. One is that God wanted to show that he is able to fulfill his promise. Two, God wanted us to have the possession of what he has promised. Let me repeat it. God wanted us to can be able to walk in the promise that he has given unto us. Firstly, in Canaan is a promise by God. Two, God wanted us to have what he has promised. Now, many of us, we are unable to understand that what God gives you as your desire, he has given unto you. My desire and all of your desires here and those who are watching us online are completely different. My dreams and everyone are completely different. I always see and visualize our picture, our church. I speak of it. Many of you also do that, but no one sees the church greater than myself. I know you also see it. Now, it is important that the perspective or the picture or the photograph or the view is something that attracts you to say, that's why they have what we call today, especially it is a Sunday, they have what we call a show house. Now, you have boards where they are showing houses. You go inside, you like the bathroom, you like the kitchen, you like the pool, you like everything. Then you are able to speak, to say, I'm going to buy that house, I'm going to buy this car because of these features. You don't just walk, hear me, you don't just walk or drive down the street and say, there's a board that says they're selling a house. Then you say, I want to make an offer, I'm buying this house. You don't know it. But God wanted the children of Israel, because he knew that one, they are stubborn. He knew that they are full of fear. He knew that they still have an attachment to Egypt. Now he wanted to destroy all things that will be able to move them away from doubting that what he is giving them is real. Remember the children of Israel, they even said when they left Egypt, why have you taken us here? We were better off in Egypt. Even when we die here, we shall have no graves. God has freed them, but already they are thinking about graves whilst they are alive. Proverbs 29:18, if people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are mostly blessed. The EXB version says, where there is no word from God, vision, prophecy, vision is what you are able to see, visualize. Prophecy is what is spoken, is what you are speaking. What is that you are not speaking that God has already entrenched in you as your dream, as your desire, as your wish? They stumble all over themselves, but when they attend to what he reveals, they are most blessed. Listen to this. When they attend to what he reveals, uNkulunkulu reveals what he knows is within your capability. Kuwe. Not to any other person. Miyekele ahambe ngendlela yakhe omunye umuntu, but hlala kuloko uNkulunkulu that he has put into your heart. Yes, I've mentioned this already. Can present two things: God's promise and receiving a fulfilled promise. Note this. You are not going to improve until you breathe out what God has given unto you. In 1965, Donald Gray wrote a book about which is called The Invisible War. It is the battle for your mind. It is the battle that decapacitates you from not being able to even see the things that are in light for you to see. Maybe if you have time, get this book and just read it. The battle is raging war. The battle is intense. He then says the battle is unfair. Because at a point where you think that you have arrived, then your mind pauses. And when your mind pauses and you are no longer able to move, when your mind pauses, even when you are writing an actual exam, your mind pauses, answers disappear. It pauses. The battle can be unfair. But because we serve a God who is great, he is a God who shall be able to enable us to ensure that we will be able to overcome this giant of the mind or giant of self. It is unfair because Satan is never fair. You can never come and say, devil, I am ready for you, let's fight. But I have taken my wash, I have taken my weapon, I've put my Bible, let's have a fair fight. It cannot be normal to say you come and say, devil, let's have a fair fight. The mind games. I have seen how people say, I have heard from God. This is what God has said. This is what God has given me as a vision. But because of the mind that is unstable, the mind that is a desert, the mind that is wide, because when the mind is unstable, it cannot be trusted. When the mind is a desert, it means it's a mind that is dry. There is nothing that is growing in it. There is nothing that is living in it except the creatures that are very harmful. Nothing is growing in a desert. And when it says also the mind that is wild, it means anything that is wild is unpredictable. It is unpredictable. We only see when things start to happen when we are least expecting. We're thinking things are happening according to our own way. I know whatever gets to you gets through to your mind. We need to learn to teach, to guide, to strengthen, to renew our mind, because the battle always starts in the minds. Numbers 13 verses 33. It speaks in this version I'm reading the Message version. But the others said, we cannot attack those. Can I have the picture of a grasshopper? We cannot attack those people. They are stronger than we are. They spread scary rumors. Listen to this. They spread what? Scary rumors. Rumors, it means, is an untruthful information. Some of us, we are immobile. Some of us, we are shaken by rumors. When we were crossing over 1999 into year 2000, some of you withdrew all your monies from the bank because we were told that the system will shut down and everything will be messed up. And everything, many people also bought in groceries because they say banks will not be functional. In a similar way, when we move in 1994 to the first democratic election, the other people of the other races, because they were not trusting, they bought in groceries, they bought in food to say the food must be able to sustain us for at least for a year. Because they were panicking, there were rumors that the country is going to go down. Don't allow rumors. Let us be the children of God who are staying in facts. Imagine myself tall as I am, then I imagine myself like that. I am just asking as honestly, imagine that I imagine myself that I have been assigned by a leader chosen by Moses from each and every tribe, that among the 12 tribes, I was the trusted one, who in this ward is going to vote for us to be the counselor or the representative. I am the chosen one because I am the leader. I am the trusted one that I'm going to represent this tribe. Everything depends upon me to can be able to be diligent, to do the right thing so that there can be progress. For me to can be able to execute this task. If I fail, not only do I fail, but it is the entire unit that is going to fail. On Friday, I'm going to mention, we had meetings. We've been having meetings with the boards of that are assigned to us as the president has taken them over. Had a meeting in this week, ESCOM, Transnet, SAA, Dinel, and all of those things. But one of the chairperson of the board, in the meeting when it ended, she cried and say, this company went down whilst we were outside in our comfort zone. Now that we have tried to recreate and ensure that there's stability, the only thing we need from the minister and the president is the support. Now that we're here, we cannot allow such an important asset of the country to go down. Whilst we are here, then they say, now we have reputation to lose because some of us are chartered accountant, lawyers, generals. If everything goes down, we have everything to lose, our reputation, because our client will want to withdraw themselves from us if it finds out that we are involved in wrongdoing. You must be able to find yourself that when you are nominated, when you are representing people, you no longer represent yourself. It must be something that is rooted in you to say, I am not alone here. These things cannot go down upon me. To say, Mama, Baba, you are the CEO, you are the chairperson of this company. I cannot see myself, seeing yourself as a grasshopper, represent a number of things. But one of it is fear. One of it is self-doubt. One of it is saying, I am unable to reach to the level of those who are opposing me. Rumors among the people of Israel, they said, we scouted out the land. To scout, we went to view The land from one end to the other. It is the land that swallows people's whole. Everybody we saw was huge. Can you show me those huge people? Why we even saw the Nephilim giants, the Anak giants, some came from the Nephilim alongside them. We felt like grasshoppers, and they looked down on us as if we were grasshoppers. But it is the mentality that you are presenting that will be able to change the perspective. It is in the process as we analyze the number of people who were there to fight Goliath. The number, we spoke about the number last week, but all of them were afraid. We're afraid. Amaphi amasotsha bazalwane abizelwe empini. We spoke about, was Goliath is there. There are a lot of soldiers which are there. There were initial 2,000, according to 1 Samuel 13 verses 2. Saul himself initially retained 2,000, these as his guard in battle, and also there was a 1,000 for his son Jonathan, and Saul kept standing an army of 3,000 soldiers, whilst in 1 Samuel 15 verses 4, Saul mobilized an army in Talim. There were 200,000 soldiers from Israel and 10,000 in addition men of Judah. All of them, bazalwane, all of them almost 300,000. Almost 300,000. They are unable. Just one man. Now, last week we were able to speak what moved David was faith. Now, the giants that we're facing in life, the battles that we are seeing, we can be able to move them when we're able to trust in God and move in a stable way, so that we must not see ourselves as other people are seeing. Listen to this word. We look down on ourselves because of a number of reasons, but I'm going to mention a few. Firstly is that of our past experiences. Secondly, we don't have a view of the future. Thirdly, we are too modest. I think these soldiers were too modest. If somebody comes, you are almost 250,000 and say, I only need one person. If I was the general, I was Saul, said, we are Stelelalo, let us all attack him. Let us all do what? Let us all attack him. He is bringing them where he wants them to be. The enemy will bring you where he wants you to be by the words that you have heard in the past, by the words that you are hearing currently, by the situation that you are confronted with. Because what Goliath did was just to speak, give me one man who can be able to fight me. And hence I said, the enemy is never fair, because already they know amongst themselves to say, how can we find a giant who is like him? Because all of us are just normal people. Now he presents a battle unto him that he already knows that none amongst the Israel is like him. There's no giant like him. Therefore, already when we say the battle is in the mind, he knows that they will be afraid. For 40 days, that's why there was no move. That is how the enemy is moving into our life, to decapacitate us. Lord, sometimes we're being modest. No, let us pull back. Pulling back is part of saying to the enemy, you are gaining advantage and victory over us. Sometimes it's lack of guidance, sometimes it's wrong reference and comparison. There's what we call self-deprecating. Big English. Self-deprecating. What is self-deprecating is nothing else but is battling with self-undermining. 1. 2 is belittling yourself. 3 is undervaluing oneself. 4 is excessively running away from responsibility. Lord, it's okay. Now, that is why God says in Joshua chapter 1, verses 6, then we go to 1. In verses 6, he says, Joshua, be strong and brave. You must lead these people so they can take the land that I promised their fathers that I will give unto them. But before God says that, listen to what verses 1 is saying. After Moses, the servant of the Lord, died, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant. Verses 2. The Lord said to my servant Moses, now that my servant Moses is dead, now you and all the people go across the Jordan River into the land I am giving to the Israelites. Verse 3, I promise Moses I will give you this land. So I will give you every place you go in the land. Now, uNkulunkulu, because he is a wise God, he's a clever God, he's a smart God, we understand that the challenges that Moses had with the rebellious children of Israel, now he does something that was never done before to deal with the mind of Joshua. He comes upon Joshua, now that my servant Moses is no more, God personally appoint and take Joshua into confidence that I'm appointing you to be the leader. I am appointing you to take responsibility. Not only am I appointing you, 2, I am reminding you of the task ahead that must be done. The task is about you going to possess the land. The task is about you going to possess everything that God has given as promise unto you. Every desire of your heart that God has released unto you. Every promise that God says you are great. When God says you are strong, that is a promise. When God says you are healed, that is a promise. When God says you shall have children, that is a promise. When God says you are protected, that is a promise. When God says you shall not lack, that is a promise. When God says no one is greater than me, that is a promise. All those are the promises. God goes in further and say, I am preparing you for the war ahead. Be brave. Stand up, be brave. Ungahlali and want to face the giants with a weak mind. God prepared Joshua for him to be stable. That is why he spoke to him. Now, Joshua, I say unto you, what, Bazalwane? Be brave and strong. Be courageous. Stand in so that you shall be able, when you face in giants and situations, I, God, have spoken unto you, Yima, regardless of the attack that you are facing, because those attacks are going to make you a better person in life. Those attacks are going to make you over victorious. Those attacks are going to make you celebrate victories that I have already given unto you. It does not mean that when I've given you a promise, it was a smart. There will be people who ridicule you. There will be people who undermine you. There will be people who drags you back and say you shall not do it. But it is in the mind that your mind must be a brave mind. A mind must be a courageous mind. That's why why if no one can encourage you, be able to say, Lord, encourage me. Don't let any other person encourage you, because in 2 Corinthians, let us come to it quickly. Listen to this. 2 Corinthians 10:12. Lord, it says, for we dare not number ourselves or compare, 2 Corinthians 10:12, or compare ourselves with one who condemns themselves. How do I start to compare myself with somebody who is already weak mentally? For the Lord says, stand, Joshua, be brave, Joshua. Let not my word leave you. Let my word be your weapon, so that wherever you go, you say, as I see myself, I shall be able to have what I am seeing. As I see myself, I shall not be afraid. As I see myself, I am greater than the battle that I am facing. That is the mentality and the attitude that David gave. For David said, even in the 250 plus soldiers, even Saul as a king, he was surrounded by 2,000 soldiers, but he was still scared, still afraid, immovable. The enemy will make sure that he brings in a battle unto you that is unfair. That is why there shall be giants. And one of the things that we must be able to deal with, go back and set yourself into the title that we did, renewal of your mind. The battle is in the mind. Set your mind free. It then goes further to say, we cannot compare ourselves for in meaning themselves by themselves and comparing themselves amongst themselves. They are not wise. The Message version says, we are not understand putting ourselves in a league with those who boast that they are superior. We wouldn't dare do that. But in all this comparing and grading and competing, they quite miss a point. But listen to the ISCB. We do not dare to put ourselves in the same group with those who think like grasshoppers, with those who think they are weak, with those who think they are incomparable. That is why God says, I am establishing your mental strength, Joshua. Never compare your mental strength to any other person, but let God be your measure of where you're supposed to be. Because if your measure is in the Lord, you shall be able to withstand any situation that they have presented upon you. It goes further to say, we do not compare ourselves to them. They use themselves to measure themselves. They judge themselves by what themselves are. They show that they know nothing. They know nothing. But listen to the Amplified Version. It's not me. Whatever words come say is not from Mfundisi, but is in the Bible. Go to the Amplified Version. It says, we do not have the audacity to put ourselves in the same class and compare ourselves to the people who are weak. We cannot compare to the people who are incapable. We cannot compare ourselves to the people who do not have the grace of God. We cannot compare ourselves to people who knows nothing about the victory that is given by God. Who? It says audacity. You know, when somebody speaks about you don't dare audacity, it means somebody is speaking in boldness. Don't have the audacity to undermine me. Don't have the audacity to disrespect me. It says we do not have the audacity to put ourselves in the same class or compare ourselves. Kukhona ama-class that you must not belong to. Kukhona ama-association that you are not supposed to be part of it. Kukhona a thinking level that you are not supposed to be in it. Imagine uyahamba la endleleni. Nangu Ngcobo ukudrivisa kabi. uNgcobo ukhipha isandla. Nomuno phezulu nawe ukhipha usandla umuno phezulu but ngaleso sikhathi usaya enkonzweni and uzoyenza ama declaration and offering. So usikhiphile isandla. Don't dare be in the audacity to reduce yourself as a grasshopper, because the grasshopper mentality is what the situation wants you to be, to have the control of you, to make you feel incapable. Imagine a grasshopper, something that I can just step on it. Measure, compare. Then it says, condemn themselves when they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves. That is the amplified version. Yeah. Themselves and compare themselves with themselves. They lack wisdom. They behave like fools. Let us not be fools, bazalwane, by being able to compare ourselves to the standard of other people. Even if they might be flying helicopters, God maybe has not called you to their level of helicopters. He has even called you much more greater level. But when you are just saying, if I can only be like uNgcobo, ngoba uhamba ngePorsche, that's my dream life. Phelele lapho ceiling. That's the problem. Our desire are so materialistic that we only end there. I wish you were in the Bible focus, because we learned on Wednesday that the blessings of God, they're like when you walk in the mall, it's a display. You are able to choose and pick what you want, and God will be able to grant you what you are desiring. Not only that, the blessings of God are even greater than that. When Jesus says, Peter, come walk in water, that was a blessing itself. But we have come to a point where we are reducing blessings into material possessions. We should not be fools. Whilst the Phillips version says, of course, we shouldn't dare include ourselves. Yingako kuthiwa andizi. Andizi kule group andizi. Isuka lapho, suka eBhayibhelini. Of course, we shouldn't dare include ourselves in the same class as those who write their own testimonials. Our testimonials must be written by God, not by ourselves. Our testimonials must be written by what God has postured us in terms of the victory that He has given unto us. Oh, then the last part says, by comparison with their own cycle, and that doesn't make for accurate estimation. You may be sure. Lastly, the Voice version says, for we wouldn't dare to compare ourselves with people who have based their worth on self-condemnation. The person you are so desiring, comparing yourself, they are going through the most that you do not know, but you so pray, I want to be like, I want to be like, I want to be like. Sugar to be wanting to be like. Come in to be what God wants you to be. It says, with self-condemnation, they check themselves against and compare themselves with one another. It shows they don't have any sense. Philippians 2:13 says, because God is energizing you so that you will desire and do what He what always pleases him. May you be energized by what God has embodied into you. As we spoke last week, Psalm 37:5, let the Lord be your guide into the future. Trust in him and he will help you. God will do what? Will help you. Not any other person. Psalms 20 verses 4. We've been repeating it. May he grant the dreams of your heart and see your plans through the end. Part of the problem is that we are not having dreams, but we are only aspiring to have what other people are already having. We don't have dreams, we don't have plans, we don't have desires. We only see if you have a new have you seen most people, if you are taking a sweet, everything, they never take initiative and say, let me go to the shop and buy myself. And buy myself something that I can be proud of myself. It is important, Bazalwane, that you must be able to dream. Dream, Bazalwane, because dream is the imagination of God that is infused in you, so that you don't see yourself as a grasshopper. See yourself as a capable, a David and a Goliath. But David says, I am equal to the task. I am equal to you. Sometimes dreams don't come true. Yes. Now Jonah Jonah had his own dreams to run away from God. And he was sure that, I finally escaped. I finally escaped. Unfortunately, his dream never came true. His desires never came true because it was not in the plan of the Lord. There are dreams that will never come true because they are not in God's plan. We're going to close by these points. Refuse to have a defeated mindset. We know that the violent battle is raging around our mind 24/7 in a day. We should be able to fix our broken minds, a troubled mind according to 2 Kings 6:11. We should be able to ensure that we don't have a deprived mind according to 1 Timothy 6:5. We should ensure that we don't have a sinful mind according to Romans 8:7. We should ensure that we don't have a dull mind according to 2 Corinthians 3:14. We should ensure that we don't have a blinded mind according to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 4. We should ensure that we do not have a corrupt mind according to 2 Timothy 3:8. Because we're doing what? We're dealing with a stronghold. We are defeating them. We're taking control. We're leading where God wants us to be. We move to be in control. We move to lead. It is important. In Joshua chapter 1:18, it says, Masitate Pezul 16. Then the people answered Joshua, anything you command us to do, we will do. Any place you send us, we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, we will obey you. We ask only that the Lord, your God, be with you, just as he was with Moses. Because Joshua was a different type of a leader compared to Moses. He was not a diplomat, for God has already prepared unto him to say, even to these children, be brave. I do not want you, the journey which can take you just 40 days, it takes you 40 years. It's a reason that people are not walking in the enablement that I have already given unto them, is because busy bafuna izinto that I know ukuthi bazofuna ukucontesta nawe. Now that I say be brave, be a leader who's able to say no. Kunezimo as we stand church, kunezimo empilweni zethu that when we are facing them, we should be able to stand with boldness and braveness, and we say no. We should be able to say no. We should be able to come and say, with God on my side, I am not worried. I am not fearful. I shall not be moved by anything. If you are not dreaming it, envisaging it, kubhaliwe la, maybe abantwana besikolo bantshela, ekuseni I was moving around, omunye ubhalile la, huge salary. Palila so salary 100,000, maybe a limitation yake 100,000, because he thinks 100,000 is a lot. 100 million maybe is your limitation. 100 billion maybe is your limitation of your mind. Therefore, hear me well. If you miss everything that I've said today, but don't miss this, your mind does not have a cul-de-sac. Your thinking, your dream don't have a cul-de-sac to say you can dream up to here. They are not contained to say you can only imagine up until here. That is why God, in his greatness, he demonstrated it when he said to Abram, as far as your eyes can see, as far as your eyes can see. If amehlo akho abuka aphelela kuNgcobo, it means your blessings izophelela kuNgcobo. But if amehlo akho abuka, uyakhona ukufika eJapan ngokwenqondo, uyakhona ukufika eTurkey, uyakhona ukufika in the innovation hub, in the innovation hub of any other country, and see how the South Korean are doing in terms of changing the digital world. Be able to imagine greater than where you are. Move out of your current confinement. Let your mind be set free. Susa ingqondo yakho ezintweni ezijwayele, ulethe ingqondo yakho ebuhleni bukaNkulunkulu, lokho okukhulunywa nguye. Makathi be brave, therefore akukho into ezokulimita when you are brave. Be courageous. Ayikho into ezokumisa ngoba wena you are bold. Ungena ema-meetingini and say, this is me, this is my presentation. Hlalani phansi CEO, everybody, niyangizwa na? You are going to take my proposal. You getting into this interview. When they ask you how much you want to say, I'm not interested on how much I'm going to earn, that I'm going to give unto you. What is the net profit of this company? Then based on the net profit of the company, you make your determination. A problem here too. As soon as you say, no, I am comfortable to can be able to have 50,000 rand a month, but saskora, lo hambile besumkhorisa 100,000. Imina owenu onthandaya was a Pastor Sheila. As she's coming.